Okay.
You're right there, buddy. We got some games now.
This is a bit weird. By the way, Kasva, although he had pick 2 and 3, did not decide on Delhi, but gave pick number 4 to MarineLorD, and he picked Delhi there. A bit of a surprise. Lots of people feel like top 3 civilizations should include Delhi on these maps. Oh, look at that.
What? That's a mating ground right there. That's not a hunting ground. Good lord. And I mean, like, MarineLorD probably doesn't care as much about it because you know how these two civs are. Berries. Give me berries. Always, right? It's the vegetarian diet. Because that's another interesting thing is that we kind of got used to seeing this a lot, but it did fall off in popularity ever since the nerfs around berries in conjunction with the siege, especially for the Abbasids. But here on this map, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of easy value from MarineLorD. You mentioned that deer site, but also double sacred site on the low side. And it is towards him as well.
Interesting stuff. And yeah, I think there's some potential to go into that direction. Also really easy to wall behind it, right? Woodline and cliff connected there. Could easily wall to the edge of the map. So I think this is a really good map to control. Would just be too wild if we had another safe gold spot. But luckily, for the map generation, all 3 of his golds towards the left-hand side.
See, what I actually really love about these type of generations, it's not just like the kind of aggression that's going to occur over that southern side on the sacred sites. It's the fact there's a boar right next to it. And this might turn into a feudal aggressive game. And I've seen MarineLorD dismantle opponents because he aggroed boars before. I have a feeling that this will happen at some stage in this game. I can sense it.
Okay. So, what are the next... What's the build-up here? If you're Abbasid, we don't see Delhi that much, right? I'm not sure if you faced them that much in the ladder as well over the last week. You probably didn't see them before last week's tournament because everyone was still training with B tier, C tier civilizations because we had S and A tier civilizations banned. So how many Delhi Abbasid games did you practice over the last month?
Most people haven't really been seeing it, right? Like, it's actually kind of remarkable how little the Civ got picked after the new patch. But I think Delhi still remains the least picked Civ, even across, all rankings, not even, the highest level.
Sick.
Yeah.
Sick.
And in fact, if I whip up the Platinum side of things and above, it's the lowest alongside HRE with a 6.5% pick rate. I don't think we need to guess what first place is. It's someone I was kind of expecting Kasva to pull out here, which would have been the English.
Huh, yeah. Especially at low level, it's crazy high. I think below 900, it's 27% English pick rate. It's really, really nice to see.
You say that. I'm telling you, the highest level, it's 25.5% English.
Sick.
It's actually nuts. Yeah. The Abbasids have definitely kept a decent amount of games played, but I think they are one of the lowest winning civs now after the changes. They definitely felt like the ones hit hardest by the Maganel changes and also the tweaks around the berries.
And the slower building siege on the field.
Yeah.
Right? That's the power spike early mid castle age for Abbasid. Not an option anymore.
Yeah, it's really skewed a lot in the matchups as well. I feel like the English has been one of the biggest benefactors of this. It used to be before that patch change, the Abbasids were really favored in that matchup, but it completely teeter-totted everything in conjunction with buffs. I mean, this is kind of, it shows you just how nerfing something doesn't mean that you've balanced the game better, right? It can actually lead to something else getting overwhelmingly powerful, which is what we've been seeing. Are you a scout or are you a, what are you? Teleportation tech, I think, is what we just discovered there, Nili. What did he get stuck on?
I'm not really sure. I think it was was one villager under the horse?
I don't want to know
the villager
what was
pushed
happening.
the horse up, and therefore the horse was moving with the legs but had no contact to the ground.
When your defenders are so Chad, they impale your horse with a villager. I don't understand how that happens.
Stable opening by Mr. Kasva. No extra town center. Over here we see Delhi player going onto stone.
Well, hello there.
Is that a counter to the extra town center that's actually not coming?
No, I could see him doing it. Like, it's the Deli's not one of these civs that people been experimenting with multi-TC. Like, they've discovered they like it quite a bit. Also gives you disposable villages to move out and drop outposts on the sacred sites. The interesting part for me is Kasva. I wondered if he was going to go into archers here, because the issue with playing into stables is while you both have increased food production via the berries, one side has production efficiency. So if this becomes a simple numbers game, multi-TC versus multi-TC, like your edge of fresh foodstuffs somewhat gets evened up by the fact that MarineLorD is saving on additional production buildings.
Can just invest into another building, right? And the other one had to build Scholar as well. Stone, by the way, only some few villages, so actually it is more for arrow slits than going for the extra town center.
Yeah.
MarineLorD goes for the normal approach there.
Makes sense.
Only one on stone now.
And like to that point you're making about like the cost being elsewhere, keep in mind this is why you almost always see this landmark choice by the Deli compared to the Tower of Victory. A lot of people have been kind of querying this because Tower of Victory seems amazing, 20% like attack speed buff. And it is in a hyper late game situation. But you have to think about how much Dome of Faith saves you in the early mid game. Like, you're paying half the price for scholars that have flexibility in what they do. And then also, if you get that production efficiency, you're saving 75 resources on your military production buildings, right? Because you're paying 75 gold instead of an additional 150 wood. And if there's one resource by the 10 minutes you have surplus of as a Deli, it's gold due to these sacred sites.
Oh, sacred site's obviously pretty crazy here, and we already see arrow slits, and that's something Kasva was probably not expecting. Oh, does not want to go into the air, and takes 5-6 hits. Quite some losses on HP.
Kind of high ground play. So what's really frustrating is when you get this type of spawn against the Deli, not only is it two sacred sites next to each other, it's on the high ground. And also it's close enough that you can do this daisy chain if you want, where you outpost both, which is exactly what happens. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kasva now goes into an archery range and looks to get, or maybe even a rack, just to get his hands on a ram. But instead,
Townsend being built at the front.
ignores it. I guess he's still got a minute or two, right? Because, like, MarineLorD hasn't captured these sacred sites yet. So I guess he's just trying to pad his eco first.
I think an archer range still makes lots of sense, though. Goes for more houses now, connecting all the buildings to get to tier 1 a bit quicker. Horseman production still continues. And yeah, I think you need to do more than just add a second town center.
Yeah.
I think most of the time Delhi just gets way too comfortable if you give them 2 sacred sites for free.
Yeah, and another issue of pushing Horseman and Horseman isn't just the production rates. It's the fact that MarineLorD is slowly reaching the critical mass of scholars for his base. After that, he can move them out to the sacred sites, and then after that, he can use them to turn the tide of battle, right? Just by healing up. Wait. MLord, buddy. Now, I know it sounds like a lie, and I know it sounds like a scam, but it is all free, I assure you. Seems he forgot to click the buttons.
If something is free, it can't be, like, you're the product.
It costs you time, my friend. They're not gathering your
time is
personal
not free.
data.
So it isn't free.
Well, it depends. Have you ever seen that Justin Timberlake movie? Apparently, you can just get infinite time. If you're good enough at winning.
Okay. But inflation.
I don't think they actually thought about that in that movie, which is why I didn't like it. It's not
Actually, they
economically
did.
accurate.
I think coffee got more expensive. Yeah.
Oh,
They got angry
okay.
again.
You may be right. It's so many years ago, and I don't think I have any intent of watching that movie again.
Oh, no, you shouldn't.
You know what I want to watch loads of? Age of Empires 4. Ah, still so much to do here, folks. I mean, this game, it is a reasonable start from MarineLorD, but Kasva will not go gently into that night. You can see he's already getting in pressure point position with these horsemen early on, and it looks like MarineLorD has found the double deer now.
Must be nice. And also, this is like really efficient when it comes to him getting hunting. Oh, now big engagement. Tries to get to the tower, but still no outpost. No arrow slit.
This could be very confusing for someone who's watching a grayscale version of the game, because they seem to be in opposite locations here due to the fact that Kasva's moved in for aggressive outposts. And he's actually daisy chain. Okay, is it weird in my mind that this looks better than the Mongol attempt in game 1?
Well, it also hits 7 minutes later, right?
True. He's actually layered himself correctly. But it's a cool idea because right now MarineLorD does still need gold. He's got the sacred sites ticking up. So if Kasva can now fall back and get rid of that gold trickle, then MarineLorD essentially gets starved on the gold. It's a big ask.
3 golds there at the right-hand side. Do we How about 2 sacred sites are crazy.
That's what I
KP.
mean. That's what I mean. He needs to wrap. He can't just... This can't be enough. I like this dive, though, denying some equity, but if he doesn't actually get a ram and take out the outpost, this is pretty superfluous. It doesn't stop MarineLorD from scaling.
Okay, Archers now would love to see some healing there.
Rams?
Had that one really
Rams?
low.
Can we build rams? I'm not crazy about this right, Nili. Like, 1 ram is going to be needed here, at least.
To clear it up, yeah. Otherwise, you can't do much against the towers. MarineLorD at 15 horsemen, though.
Yeah, this is the power
How
production.
are you
of
breaking
efficiency.
this?
You can't easily, though. This is the oppressive nature of the Delhi, because now he's starting to reach a number of scholars where he can pull them for healing duties. So any damage you've done, unless you kill the unit, it's not going to work out. It's a terrible trade.
Oh, Camel Archers certainly good in that sense. They will help out.
They'll
Look at the
help a lot.
resources as well for MarineLorD. Oh,
Wait.
sneaky villagers.
Yeah, he's still going. He's still going for more of it. So he's baiting him in. Camel Archer's now in the mixer. Now remember, it's a ranged unit compared to the melee, so it's always attacking. It doesn't have to wrap around to get into stab range. Camel Archers, admittedly, the Camel Armies not reducing as much damage they would against, say, heavy cavalry. It's half that damage is a bonus, and it doesn't get affected by auras. So for the moment, MarineLorD will just back off. Doesn't want to take the fight just yet. He's happy because here's the issue. Kasva kills 1 or 2 of the horsemen, but he still hasn't killed the eco. MarineLorD still has 2 sacred sites under his belt.
Compound of the
wow.
Defender. Hello.
Wait.
Okay, so we're not going for the House of Learning.
Is this going
That feels interesting.
This could actually evolve into the keep TC build, because I think he wants to keep naturally at the sacred sites anyway, right? We'll see if he goes for it. In the meantime, fight underway. Numbers in favor of Kasva now. MarineLorD needs to pull back from this. He can heal if he gets them back to a safe point. Meanwhile, trying to stop the outpost going up just about. Whew, getting a little bit too close.
Great find. And now you can see MarineLorD just moving in, moving out.
Shaking all
And
about.
he's happy.
Yeah, of course he
Towers
is.
adding some damage.
Because now they both have injured horsemen. If you now just pull scholars forward, one side heals and the other doesn't. It's the frustration of Delhi at this point in the game.
And he already killed like 3 towers without any siege. Simply because we didn't have 2 towers with arrow slits. And the 3rd one even costing 2 villages with that one as well. Now pulls some of his horsemen away, sending some scholars in.
Dive
Castle
coming in.
Age.
Chasing him with a horseman, but a quick back away. Oh, MarineLorD, he might get gap closed here because the scout was in the formation. He's selecting them both together, which means the horsemen aren't running away quicker. They're actually being gap closed upon, but it looks like Kasva is just going to turn and burn straight onto that outpost. Needs to get rid of the sacred sites, and now needs to catch up as MarineLorD is a whole age ahead of him.
Okay, upgrades will take some time though. Now we see phalanx, we see more spearmen in production, so knows that he will mainly face horsemen. But Compound of Defender actually telling us that a switch into infantry should be around the corner at some point. But for now, still more cavalry. So Kasva going for the right units and 14 villages ahead and could increase on that lead.
Yeah, those villagers are out in no man's land. Scholar's definitely not getting out of this in one piece. It's going to be skewered. And 1 or 2 villagers might die before they make it to the outpost. And that outpost will not last long. There's just so many horsemen here from Kasva. Meanwhile, the outpost still being frustrating back in MarineLorD's base. But the more important outpost being taken down here. Sacred Site on the left still wasn't decapped by Kasva, though. So that's still been giving gold trickle over to MarineLorD this whole time.
Didn't he kill the tower?
He killed the tower, but he didn't kill the Sacred Site.
Oh, okay. That's quite some gold then.
That's been like, what, a minute ago at least? And yeah, please. Okay, get the villagers, but there we go. 1 horseman, stay. Don't come with us, okay? You've got a new job here. Like when you're meant to be on
horseman
guard
upgrade.
duty and you're bored, right? You're like, oh, I'm just going to go down the local pub here. No, please.
What? That's what you do?
I don't know. I don't know what people do. Well, I play games when I'm bored, but I'm pretty sure they didn't have video games in castle times. That's a few hundred years ago, nearly. That technology is quite recent.
Okay.
Although you'd be happy. They've had poker for a few hundred years. It'd be good to go.
Did they?
I don't know. Do I look like
I don't know
this?
either.
They've had it longer
I
than
only know
video
that
games.
MarineLorD is going for some aggression through the center. Population is not looking too hot for him, and that could be
Uh-oh.
some big villages. It's only 1 tower.
He's in. So many of them as well. Camel Archer is going to cut him off in the retreat. Several villagers going to go down. He calls it straight away. He knows when he's beat. Kasva escalating too quickly. It means a 3rd game is going to be required. Kasva keeping the dream alive.
Wow. And with this weird tower push, right, he got control over all the gold, forced MarineLorD into that mass amount of horsemen that didn't scale too well. And it takes so long to actually get the proper castle age upgrades for those horsemen. And MarineLorD kept taking those fights. I think falling back a bit more, trying to clear up those towers, go on to gold, and play castle age with the fusion edge could have been an option. But remember, Kasva had the better economy. So MarineLorD sitting back was not really an option.
Yeah, and there's some different things to highlight, right? Like, you can actually see at the tech at the end, like, MarineLorD didn't even get all the way through the blacksmith tech. So if you had them in the early fights, maybe it's a little bit better. On top of that, it's the fact that he didn't necessarily diversify his composition, right? He was losing a few villages here and there, and we did highlight that you get economical benefits at first. But Kasva's secondary TC was unimpeded. He just kind of got to cruise for way too long. It's a little bit surprising. I think this can be the bait of the Delhi, is that because once you get two of those sacred sites, you feel very content in your game. You feel like you're in control and your opponent has to come to you. But I think what Kasva displayed to us is that you can actually chill. You can sit back. You don't have to rush to deny that, because to do so is potentially to sacrifice any sort of military potency you can have in the coming minutes.
Mm-hmm. And Delhi, apparently, picked late, didn't transition.
No.
And now, I think there should be a Civ advantage for Kasva here, right? What do we have? We have Mongols taking away?
It definitely is.
To
Trust me.
Kasva?
Like
No,
these two,
MarineLorD. MarineLorD has Rus
you say that,
against the English.
but yeah, that's the important detail, is that Kasva had both the English and the Chinese to go to, and he loves both these civs. I think these are probably possibly his two most played civs. Like, English from the early days, kept it up all the way through, and especially in like the last 2 months, I feel like one of the most impressive civs I've seen him play is the Chinese. Whenever I'm watching him on the pub ladders, he's very astute. He's very like locked in. The cool thing though is looking back to specifically this English pick, he's been one of those Abbey of Kings connoisseurs, and